And now, let's talk tech talk.
Well, that screen shouldn't be on to start with, so let's try that again. Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tech for Tech Tech Talk. This is a live show where anything can happen, like the wrong screen's being shown. So tonight's show is about customer satisfaction and getting your stars. So I'm Phil Griffiths. This is...
And I'm Jenny, and we're off to a amazing start, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. And I'm just trying to figure out why everything's not on the right size, because it was working fine before we went live. There we go. That's better. Right, if anyone is watching, first of all, if you want to comment, let us know if you can hear and see us. It looks like Dan has already letting us know that. So thank you, Dan. So that's Dan.
These are Target components.
Is that the Target Dan, or is it? Yeah, I get mixed up nowadays with this Dan guy.
That's Dan the man.
Yeah, there we go. So, right, okay. So, first of all, I'll get the guests to obviously introduce themselves. First, we've got Steve. Steve, if you want to introduce yourself, let everyone know who you are, what you do, your business name if you wish, and any tips or stories you've got for us.
Hello, good evening. Well, my name is Steve. I run a company called Chiswick Computers. I've been running it for about 21 years. I got my first computer back in 1979, my first desktop in about 1983. I've got a story for you. I have already told it on the group, so you may have heard it before, but I often do more than one thing at a time. So I can actually write an email and talk to somebody, and I can do them both equally as well. On this particular day, I was doing a remote session with a customer. He was on the phone with me. I was trying to have a conversation on Facebook on the Tech for Tech group. And an email came in from a supplier that I had just ordered an ASUS charger for a customer's laptop. And quite surprisingly, he was querying the tip size. And so I emailed the customer and I said to her, my supplier has queried your tip size. Can you send me a picture of it? She replied, as you know, Steve, they are not very big. And although I have known you for 15 years, I'm not sure I am ready to send you a picture. Maybe a date first. So maybe next time I'll check my email before I send it out to a customer, make sure I don't get me P's and me T's mixed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely one. That's for sure. Right.
The reply sounds like something I would have said in all fairness.
Yes. Yeah, definitely one there. Right, guys, if you are watching, obviously make sure you do comment. Obviously, let us know who you are, and we'll give you a shout out like we are doing with Blue Bolt PC. So, evening, guys. Hope you guys are coming to TechMax as well, and we'll see you in a few months' time. So, it'd be good to have a good catch up. God. Getting my words mixed up, let alone letters getting mixed up now. So, right, okay. So, right, next we'll go on to the PC guy, as he likes to be called. So, the PC guy, if you want to introduce yourself, let everyone know who you are, what you do, the name of your company. I think that's pretty obvious. But and if you've got a tip for us today.
Yeah, hi guys. I'm Jay. I run the PC guy, and I've been in the industry for just over 20 years now. I am based in Bury, and I've got quite a large place to run with a couple of members of staff. I have one tip, and one tip only, really. I suppose it's any good for anybody, is if you're ever going to start up in the industry like I did, always try and buy as many USB sticks as possible and load your operating systems on them, because you never know when you're going to need them. And I always carry a few around with me every single day, just in case I have to nip anywhere, see a customer first thing in the morning. If there's obviously any issues, I can go down there, stick the USB in, probably clear a lot of the issues there and then without having to take the computer away. So it's always handy to have a stick with all your tools on and or operating systems as well.
Okay, that sounds pretty good, Jay. So has anyone else got any interesting stories or advice or anything like that who's listening tonight? I know there's a few of you watching, but chat does seem a little bit quiet tonight. I think you're all scared. I don't know if it's Steve who's scaring you all off, or if it's Jay, but or it's probably me more than likely, to be honest with you. Right, okay, so let's move over onto the news we've got at this end.
Right.
So if you want to just carry on doing that, Jen, I'll just go over the awards.
Oh, I was going to let you go ahead and find it, but you can't find it.
Well, I can't get on your machine, can I? You're there.
Uh,
So, right. So sorry about that, guys. So
if it can happen, it will.
yeah. So the actual Tech Awards, the nominations are now over. Voting will start in roughly a week's time. So we'll obviously do a shout out to everyone who has been obviously nominated. We've got, I think it was 546, no, 846 different nominations altogether. So that's for like different people and so forth. Obviously, there's going to be a few mix and matches there, and there's a few we're having to filter out because there's someone who's took, for example, a picture of their feet for the example of best automotive signage, and then there's one or two have taken pictures of the vehicles and it doesn't say anything on it, and they haven't written down what the company is. So there we go. We even got an entry for a plane in there as well. So, but we'll go through that a little bit later. I'm not sure if a plane's classed as automotive. I suppose it is, and not at the same time. I suppose you can roll it down the road. I suppose, but yeah. So we've got a few different applications in there, and we'll see how that goes. Right. So, Jen, if you want to run us through TechMax then.
Right, I'd be glad to because I'm not getting anywhere with this. We have some new joins coming to TechMax. We have TP Link, they joined up this week, as well as, I'm not sure if we've announced it, Verbatim Surefire will be there. Our sponsors that have joined us are PAX 8, and Iama is going to be our digital sponsor. So that's the news from TechMax. As you've been knowing, we've hired a casino for entertainment. If you didn't know that, well, you know it now. We've got many other sponsors. To start off with, we have Case King and also AeroCool. They will be our main sponsors for the day.
Case King's main sponsor, AeroCool, is sponsor for the lunch. And
yes,
then
that's what I said.
Yeah, and then we've got Iama, which is your digital sponsor. Strong is doing the awards. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was trying to go, but okay. Anyway, now that I've totally forgotten what I was going to say, we have what? Okay,
Okay, guys, we're just having a few technical issues. The screen's not displaying this end, but let me just run it through. So we've got talks and presentations going off at the event. We've got Kit Guru going to be there, so hardware purchase intention survey. So they're going to be telling you about what the most popular things are, what people are buying, and so forth at the moment. We're going to have a tech roundtable as well. So the tech roundtable is basically a bit like what we're doing now, but we're going to be obviously live at the venue. We've got myself on the stage. We've got Will Murr as well. We've got Ken, who I've seen in the chat today. We've also got Battle of the Distributors back. We've got a few people we're talking to from the distributors. We've just got to get 100% confirmation from them of who's going to be attending and so forth. We'll post that when needed. We do have a couple of other talks, one specifically which I can't say yet until she sends over all the finalised details and so forth, but there is going to be a lot going on. And talking about presentations and stuff, a lot of you complained last year, obviously the screen wasn't big enough and you couldn't see what was going off and stuff like that.
We solved that this year.
We've solved that this year. We, mainly due to the main sponsor, we're able to get a slightly bigger screen. So hopefully that screen, which is 86 inches, should be a little bit better than the little poxy one that was supplied by the venue, which was about 30 inches. So you should be able to see that, especially in the room, what we're going to be having in this
now, just to put this into proportion, put the picture back up.
Okay.
That's Phil. Everybody knows that Phil is not a merry little lad. All right. And that thing makes Phil look like a Ken doll.
Yeah.
And that little dot in the background is my dog that looks like a pixel on the monitor. So it's huge. absolutely huge. It took two guys to lift it out of the box. My father-in-law, thank you, and Phil, thank you for assisting in that.
Okay. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So no problem there. So otherwise for TechMax, we've been through a lot of the stuff on there. Obviously the venues at Magna, it's up in Sheffield near Rotherham. We've updated the information on there for the parking, walking, driving, train, bus and taxi,
Yeah.
Uber and so forth for anyone who's interested. You've got some testimonials there from last year. And here's the list of all the vendors, and when I say vendors, distributors as well, that have signed up or at least finalised at the moment. There are a lot more to go. We've
Yeah.
got 15 more, which we're just waiting for payments to go through to go on top of what we've already announced here. And then there's going to be another a load we were talking to, and more than likely there'll be one or two last minute ones like last year.
Yeah.
So definitely a good number. We're already surpassing last year's in numbers and the amount of exhibition. If I can speak English, the amount
Exhibitors.
those we've already surpassed last year's on there. And if anyone's interested in exhibiting, it's quite cost effective. We're pretty open with the pricing, so if anyone wants to exhibit, if you've got a small business what sells to other retailers or anything along that lines, MSPs or anything like that, you're looking at basically 850 quid plus VAT for an exhibition spot. It's not expensive. We've priced it pretty cheap so we can get a good array of not just the big guys but the smaller guys and everyone between there. So we could probably charge a lot more and just get bigger guys in there, but we want to make sure everyone's got the ability.
Put it like this: if you want to go to Computex, you may have to sacrifice your firstborn son and everything else in between. If you want to go to TechMax, it's just as simple as just rolling out a little bit of dosh and you're there.
Yeah, exactly. We do have actually, it says £1 on the video we did. We do have a free ticket if you don't want lunch. If you want lunch, it's £1. If you want to go to the evening meal, entertainment and awards, you're looking at 25 quid. So it gives you a rough idea.
I mean, you think about it, when you go out on the town and for a meal, that's about what you pay for a meal.
That's it.
When you go out. So we did it competitively.
That's it. And there was one other thing you wanted to talk about.
I did. This week, I was told that Tech for Techs lost a special friend. And this special friend was the four-legged pal of Dean Shaw from Arrow Cool. He was 16 years old, and he loved to visit the hills above the Derwent Dam, as seen in this picture. And Dean, we're really sorry that Baxter is no longer with us.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to say it's always a shame to lose anyone or any pets, to be honest with you. Yeah. Definitely sorry for you there, Dean. So, right, so let's move on to the main topic then. I'm going to put chat back on and just quickly go through chat first. So any Facebook users watching, please comment for your name after your comments, because unfortunately Facebook hasn't fixed the issue yet. Which tells people who you are and so forth. So a lot of Facebook people will just be showing up as Facebook user. We did have a comment coming from Ken earlier on at Kenny Clever. He said, best customer service advice I can give is to never give ourselves to your customer. Listen carefully, explore their requirements, give them options, but above all, let them make the decision. Yeah, sounds like a pretty good advice there. We've got Welshie Tech. So how are we both doing? Well, we're
doing very well, Welshie. Yeah, I hope you're doing well too.
Yeah, we're going to say we're doing pretty well. Thank you for tuning in, Welshie. Some good videos you've been doing recently. Let's have a look. So we've got Facebook user. So I'd love to chat to you all about my business. 20 years now, 2-man band and turning over 400k a year. I have so much to give and so much I would love to listen to and learn from you guys. We do all and much, much more large IT firms. Let's have a look in hosted desktop and other hosted stuff. Well, whoever Facebook user is, if you want to get in contact, I'm guessing because it's saying your Facebook user in the Tech for Tech group, just contact me or Jenny.
Yeah.
Okay, my name's Phil Griffiths, but in the Facebook group, it's John Phil Griff because of Facebook being sods. Let's just put it that way. But if you do want to get in touch, that's absolutely fine. So that's pretty good. So we've got Mr. Gates apparently checking in from across the pond. So I don't know if that's the Bill Gates or someone else, but nice to have you watching.
Hello, Bill.
We got Gadget Joe as well. So Gadget Joe, he's going to be at the event as well. He's going to be covering the event, so he's going to be doing some videos and talking to the stuff, and I don't know exactly what he's going to be doing, but
I can't
he's going
wait
to be there.
to meet him. I can't.
So apparently he stands out apparently from the last show we did. He says so. He looks very much like his logo. Let's just put it.
Well,
that
if
way.
he does, then I won't have a hard time spotting him.
Yeah, exactly. So here we go. And Welsh Tech and Joe are talking to each other. So free bar, any tickets left? So yeah, there is a free bar, and there are some tickets left. We have made some more available, which weren't needed by some of the vendors. So if you do need tickets, I suggest you get them for the evening because there isn't that many left. Facebook user says the screen must be 14 foot tall. Not far off, to be honest with you. That's pretty much how tall I am, so that's pretty good. Facebook user. Oh, this is Sharon. It's an exciting event. Sharon says Eurosoft, quality visitor and exhibits. So that's good. Obviously, Sharon, she's exhibited for the last 2 years at Eurosoft to do the PC check software.
They're
if
lovely
anyone's
people.
ever used it. Welsh Tech saying thank you very much, and we had Mr. Pons, and that was me, Andrew Eve, Call Out Computers UK Limited. Well, obviously, Andrew, if you want to be on the show, just get in touch. If you've got a topic you want to talk about or you want to join another topic, feel free. It's pretty straightforward. We don't charge for doing live shows or anything like that. And it's the same for vendors, distributors. For example, we had eArmor on. It was last week, weren't it? Was it week? Oh, yeah, last week. So there we go. Right, let's get on to the main topic then. So let's go around the room. So I'm going to start off with Steve. So today, obviously, we're talking about customer satisfaction. Get your stars. Steve, give us a story or some advice regarding this. How do you make your customers satisfied?
Okay, so a great man once said that all the world is a stage and the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. And that's what I do. I play a role, a part when I'm dealing with a customer, whether it's on the phone, face to face, no matter how I feel outside of that role, when I greet that customer, when I deal with that customer, I'm always happy, cheerful. How are you? Nice to see you. A customer doesn't want to see somebody that's miserable.
No.
And if you look at my reviews, my company is called Chiswick Computers. I've got over 600. I think you will find that 40 are not 5-star. And if you look at the 5-star reviews, you will all see they mention customer service, honesty, reliability. But customer service is the most important thing, because there is no point having a business if you do not look after your customers. There is no point having a business if you annoy your customers, don't make them happy, don't look after them, and they don't come back. It just means you've got to spend more money advertising to get new customers in. So look after the customers you've got. Play that role, play that part.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good advice.
I couldn't agree more. That sounds like something that one of my friends told me that I went to high school with. I was still in high school. She had left and gone to university. And she had a job as a waitress. And she said, some nights you just want to just throw everything down and go home. She says, but when you hit that door to bring those plates out, you make sure your hair is in place and that you are smiling and beaming, and you say the show must go on and get it done, because when you hit that door, no one wants to see you looking like just some sort of evil Medusa And they want to see somebody looking like they are owning it. That's what they expect.
Yeah.
So no matter how bad a day you're having, try not to look like you're having one.
That's it. I'd like to add to that as well. And that goes for not only yourself, but the way your business looks inside as well. If your business looks a mess and so forth, it makes you look a mess. And also, the way you the way you dress, not necessarily are you wearing jeans and t-shirts. It's that the fact that you're wearing jeans and a t-shirt with pizza stains all down the front of it, and grease and sweat coming out your armpits or whatever, is obviously make sure you got that presentation. If you look a mess, people are going to think that what you do is going to be a mess, and that's going to be the same the way your store goes. The amount of times we've been in stores and it's obvious what whoever's working there has had for the lunch.
Yeah, because they're wearing it.
Smells like a curry house, or they've had pizza, smells salt and vinegar, whatever it may be. And the last thing you want to do is walk into someone's store after someone's had some tuna or something like that to eat, because that really can smell and put people off.
I will never forget going to a trade show one time, and I don't. When I say trade show, I don't mean like TechMax. I mean this was when you would bring your goods to sell at a trade show.
Computer market.
Yeah, right. And there was this guy cooking a curry under the table. Oh, nothing could go wrong there. I mean, there was flames. Yeah. There was flames on a gas stove coming up under a wooden table with a cloth on it.
Wasn't that at the Wolverhampton race course?
It was.
Yeah,
it
so
was.
We're indoors here as well.
Yes. And I mean, I will say this: the curry smelled lovely. And I don't know that the customers appreciated it as much as I did, but I was just afraid that we were all going to blow up inside the race course.
Totally agree. Let's quickly go to chat before we go over to Jay then. So let's have a look. So Gadget Joe saying, yeah, he's a big lad with a giant red beard and a bald head, so he's not hard to miss. So if you want to say hi to Gadget Joe, feel free. He'll be at TechMax. We got Ken at Kenny Clever. Agree with putting on the game face, no matter what is going on in your life. Yeah, exactly. Even if you feel like complete, you know what, you just have to put that smile on sometimes. It's one of those things.
And with Ken, if all else fails and he doesn't feel like it, he can send Prince and Duke out there, and then everybody will be sorted.
Yeah, he's got the advantage of having two dogs in the store to cheer customers up before he gets to talk to them, I suppose. But we've also got awesome event coming up. Big lover of tech, and my forte is cooking. Have you got the catering sorted?
Yes.
Catering's done by the venue, so yeah, that is sorted. Will be, if anyone attended last year, it's going to be similar-ish to last year.
Yeah, I can't promise you that everything that we had last year will be on the plate. I would hope that most of it will be, but we're still menu planning, as we call it. I did take on board that we didn't have a dessert last year, and I told them, we need to get that sorted.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure what happened to the dessert, but there was a few issues with the food last year, but we've rectified that for this year, so that's good. So yeah, lunch, which again is only going to cost you £1 when you, which you probably already paid for in your ticket. So for £1, the lunch is worth it on its own. Okay, it's sandwiches, but got cakes and all sorts as well. There's salad and stuff like that with it.
You could argue this: you can't even go to the co-op and get lunch for that.
That's it. And the evening meal is going to be, again, we've still got 100% finalise it, but it's going to be similar as last year. It's going to be sort of on a barbecue style, so there's plenty of food, plenty of meat. It's basically you get up, help yourselves, rather than being plated, shall we say, this posh nosh, where you end up getting a potato the size of a OXO cube and a piece of meat which looks like
that was mashed potatoes the size of
exactly.
OXO.
So and the big piece of meat you get is probably the size of I don't know, a pub scratching or something like that. So yeah, you get real food. So there we go.
Yeah, Phil and I know which events that serve this, and we always have a bag of crisps in the bedroom when we
Yeah, for
stay
some
over.
of those events, yeah. So this event, the idea is that you don't have to order from KFC or Pizza Hut afterwards. So right, we've got a good evening from Scotland. Hard to say who that is, but hi Scotland. Again, if you're a Facebook user, make sure you put your name in because Facebook's having this issue where it's not showing in the live streams. So we've got hello from Ireland from Cormac, who's watching on YouTube. We've got Ken saying, let's say, getting customer feedback is great. Makes it easy for your customers. We have a big QR code link in Trustpilot, Facebook, etc. We also printed on the bottom of the receipt. So yeah, that's pretty good. That's a point. My QR code's not on the screen. So if anyone does want to go to TechMax, it's top left corner, right? Well, where my face is right at the moment. So I'll move over in a second.
I won't buy it.
So there we go. So
Yes,
let's
I
have a
will.
look. So what else we got on the chat? We've got Ken saying, agree with Jenny. Get a dog or two. Nothing breaks ice with customers better unless they're allergic. Yeah.
And even when someone is allergic, like Phil,
Mhm.
if you have a Labrador Retriever in the house, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
He picks
you
him
put a
up
word.
all the time and plays with him and everything.
That's
He's in love with him.
That's it. So there we go. So Cormac saying he thought the food last year was great. So that's
Thank
good,
you.
Cormac. But then again, Cormac, all you're used to is potatoes in Ireland, isn't it? So anything's better than potatoes
It's
on
the
its
potato
own.
famine.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to have a go at me again next time he sees me.
Uh,
So, right. Yeah, sad to hear the Catons I'm better than Heston. Okay, no problem, Gordon. So catering unfortunately is one of those things with the venue. It's basically sorted with the venue. So
yeah, you have
we
to
go. So
basically use
it's their
them.
staff, their kitchens and everything. But to be honest, we've been absolutely happy with the food. That's one of the things.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it last year. And I especially the pork belly. That was really
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah, I'm going to say lots of people went up for seconds. I know that. Right, okay, let's get back onto the main subject then. So enough about food. Right, the PC guy, Jay. So what's your tip, advice, stories regarding this customer service stuff then?
Yeah, I think I've got to agree with you guys with regards to obviously putting on a face when you meet your customers. There's nothing worse than being in a bad mood or seeing your customers in a bad mood. One of the things that I sort of said that I would definitely do when I got my own place, as it were, was treat the customers like gold, as if they were a friend as soon as they walk through the door. And there is that saying that you've got pretty much 15 seconds to give an impression to a particular person when they first meet you. So it is important to smile and greet them well, but have an empathy with people as well. You know, they come into you with the laptops, whether they busted the screen or spilled gin and tonic all over the keyboard. You know, there's a multitude of people walk through your door and they're desperate to get the computers back, the laptops back, the kids are moaning at them because I had one, for example, where Actimel was spilt into the gaming PC and it was just, the kid was absolutely mortified about it. You know, you have to sort of be a really good listener as well. It's okay saying to somebody, yeah, all right, I'll fix it, I'll have a look, give us your details and see you later. You've got to have a good conversation. I mean, I probably spend, and people might disagree with this, but I normally spend around about 10 to 15 minutes talking with my customers. And it does take quite a chunk out of the day, really, if you're getting 5, 6, 7, 8 customers coming through. But I feel that's important because when they walk away from your shop or your office, they're trusting you already to do the job. They've got that sort of, oh, he's a really nice guy, or, you know, if you've got, I've got a receptionist and she's really good at speaking with my customers as well. So, and, you know, they always say, oh, she's lovely, you know, she's really nice. And that's the sort of impression I think anybody should put across when meeting the customers, that you've just got to be the nicest person in the world, even if they're being the most horriblest person in the world as well. You've got to try and get them into a good mood. And I find that really helps. In a lot of cases, there have been customers who have been absolutely seething. I had a guy come in once and I said, hi, how are you doing? And it was the typical, I wouldn't be here if I was all right. And you know, you just got to try and sort of calm them down again and just say, okay, let's have a look and see what's wrong and have a chat and, you know, be happy with them, really, I suppose.
I would like to add to that. The phrase "think it, don't say it" comes to
Yeah.
mind.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, when you have the spills and everything, the first thing you want to say is, "Why were they drinking around the laptop?"
Yeah.
You know, and you don't want to chastise the customer because that's going to make them feel like, well, I should have known better, or even, well, it's my laptop. I have every right to have a drink when I'm on it if I want to. It's an accident, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So to try to think it, don't say it, kind of thing. And you might ask, you know, if it is a spill, what exactly we're dealing with, because that depends on if you can treat it certain ways. If it's a water spill, that's different. It's not corrosive. You know, if it's tea with milk and sugar, well, then there's a higher chance that things have really gone awry there. So it's okay to ask questions, but I would avoid the question of, you know, what were you
Yeah.
doing drinking around the laptop? Think it, don't say it.
Yeah, I must admit, Actimel is a first. I've not had that one before, so
Well, it's a milky.
yeah, I know what it
Yeah,
is, but yeah, but I'm just saying, I've never,
I
never come.
bet that's.
I've had plenty of cat pee and cat vomit on laptops before in the
Oh
past. I must
no!
admit.
Cat pee, dog pee.
Yeah, that's,
Ooh.
especially the shall we say the olden days, a few years back when a lot of people used to have the PCs downstairs in the living rooms and so forth, floor height, just the right height for your dog. Let's put it that way.
Mm.
So I've had a few of those over the years, and you go in and sniff it, and you're thinking, this don't smell right.
I've had people bring laptops in with bodily fluids of sorts, and I'm just going to say that I gloved up and cleaned it before I even attacked the problem itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the most disgusting things come through your door, and you're wanting to say, "I don't want to touch this." You know, can you touch it for me? But that yeah, you have to do what you've got to do, and if that means putting a pair of gloves on before you
Mhm.
attempt it.
That's it. I think all the points up to now have been pretty good, to be honest with you. Definitely the listening to your customers is a big thing, to be honest. So I think you've got to listen to your customers and empathise with them. So obviously, if they come in, oh, I've lost all me, just say, I know how you feel. Let's help out, and
Yeah.
this is how we're going to go about it and try and sort it. Don't tell them off. Don't chastise them.
Yeah.
Anything like that. So actually, listen to your customers and just obviously help. There's a lot of times you go in the store and something goes wrong, and whoever's behind the counter, they basically take the complete wrong approach, the
Yeah.
negative approach, which then sets you back on the attack. And before you know it, even though if it wasn't your fault, they're attacking you and so forth. So you've got to go the right way about it. Just understand. I know some of the stories you hear can be repetitive, and it's not one of these ones again, and little old ladies lost the pictures or whatever it may
Yeah.
be. You just have to obviously sympathise with the customer, and it will get you a long way, and people will remember that, and they will recommend you for it. Definitely.
I remember one lady coming into our shop one day. She had lost her pictures of her grandchild who was no longer with her.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, she had not backed him up, but she was a technophobe and didn't know much about how to do such a thing. And she had taken her device to another technical place, and they said, "Well, it must not have been that important to you if you didn't back them up."
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh wow, that's so not. Which made her, in return, irritated when she entered the door of ours. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to recover this data. It was pretty far gone, but I led her in the right direction for data recovery. So that was my thing to do, was to get her on track and everything. And I think in the end she did get her pictures back. But you know, it's little things like that. If you know you can't do it, to try and get them someone that can, and be understanding, that this person has lost something precious to them.
Yeah.
Definitely good points there. Just going to go to chat. Yes, Brishi, you're welcome to TechMax if you really want to.
Absolutely.
As long as you bring the Royals with you as well, you'll be definitely welcome. So
Yeah.
we may even find you a very special place in the venue for you.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say that most of the guests there will like you being there, but you're welcome as long as you're in the tech industry.
Hey, Rishi, we'll party together. I guarantee it.
Yeah. That's one way of putting it. There we go. So we've got Evening from Inverness. We've got Ken saying customer service comes in many forms, even if something goes horribly wrong with a repair, etc. The majority of customers appreciate honesty. Put your hands up and ask, how can we fix this? We've had a few over the years, but always resolved. That's it. I'm going to say sometimes there are things you can't resolve, but at least you can show the customer that you've done your best and the most, and it's one of those things is they're not wondering sometimes. It's one of those things is, could it have been done or not for many years? So yeah, definitely. Ken's also saying,
no. Oh,
sorry.
Sorry. I thought that there was two of Ken, like double post.
Yeah.
No, never mind.
You're confusing me now, Jen. So Ken's also saying we're also hard when someone does come in complaining. I generally listen, let them have their say, and then once they've finished, it's a case of I agree with you. If I were in your shoes, how would you fix this? Blah blah blah. Yeah, so definitely, pretty much similar to what I said a second ago. It does take the sting out of the complaint and start dialogue, definitely. And then we've got another comment saying some of the things I've had to clean off some screens over the years, disgusting, and that's from Kim.
Very.
So definitely get the rubber gloves out and cleaning equipment. And that's one thing we always used to do with everything what came in, clean it.
Yeah.
The first thing we did was clean it, no matter if it was just doing for basic diagnostics.
I was never
whatever.
so happy as when I know this sounds bad. When COVID came along, I had an excuse to have gloves on hand to pick up things, because before COVID came along, if I put on gloves, it looked like, ooh, she's afraid to touch my device, ooh, ooh, ooh. But when COVID came along, I would just slip those gloves right on, pop, pop, like a little nurse.
That's definitely that. Right, okay, so let's go back to Steve then. So, Steve, have
Hi.
you anything else you would like to add? Any more stories or tips or advice?
I think it's important that you understand that customer service is not just about being the boss or the owner. Customer service has to run right through the organization, no matter if you're a 2-man business or a 20-man business. I used to have a bit of a pet hate. In London, we have lots of foreigners, so you get lots of foreign staff, and obviously their command of English is not always as good, and sometimes their way is not as good. And sometimes you want to run your business in a certain way, and you want to deal with your customers in a certain way, and I certainly did. And one of my very small pet hates is sometimes I would get called out to the customer, to the counter, and there'd already be a conversation going on between an engineer and a customer. And then the engineer would explain to me what was happening, and they would always say, she said this and she said that. And I used to educate them, please don't use the word she or he, call them by their name or say the customer, because in English, in England, using she and he is not really acceptable. It's a little bit on the rude side, but of course, not everyone understands that. So it's important to make sure that your staff understand how you want to deliver customer service, and that is something that they have to deliver for you as you want them to. It's very important.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. Definitely comment. So I'm going to say the best way to go about that for a lot of companies who are growing is probably to get your basic rules and terms and how you approach
Mhm.
people written down on a sheet of paper, so you can pass that on to new employees, because obviously there's stuff you're going to be adding on to there over the years, which is going to change and so forth. But it's definitely something good to actually have written down, so then you can basically say, look, this is how we if they start talking a different way, this is how we trained you. You need to stick to this format. Same with things like even answering the phones and communications and emails, saying things like, "Hey, how you doing?" and saying thank you and please. And again, as Steve says, obviously people from different nationalities, and now we've had it with before, haven't we, Jen? Where things, even though both speak English, the way you say things, some don't always add up exactly the same, and so
Yeah,
forth.
let's just say that you use one word and it means something over here. It can mean something totally different somewhere else.
Yeah.
I won't go into examples because that could go above and beyond customer service. But anyway, I've had it where I would come across using the pronoun she and he, because it is a pronoun. I mean, you can dance around it as much as you like. It's a pronoun, it's part of the English language. And I would say something like, she said that her computer was dropped, and he said this, that, and the other. Um, some nationalities may find it rude. I was always brought up with it being part of the English language and
Mm,
something we can use. But I would suggest in this circumstance that if you don't like that, and that's totally all good and well, I'm not disputing that, that you have a training course for anyone that comes on board of how to speak to the customer and what is acceptable and what's not, and have a role play conversation where you act as the customer and they act as someone representing you, and you say, right, now here's what I liked about that, and here's what I didn't, and blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
And I think before they hit the floor, they should know this.
Yeah.
Too late once they hit the floor, because then things have happened, and you can't rectify it. Same as talking on the phone, mock phone calls. And the reason I say this is I had to go through a training like this in America when I worked at a candy store that sold candy and shipped it around the world. Uh, I was trained on how to answer the telephone. I think I answered it 5 times before I got it right, and each one was very polite and courteous and everything, but there was only one acceptable way
Mhm.
to answer the phone, and according to them. So you just have to make sure that everybody is on the same page before they even start, I
Yeah,
think.
exactly. Just the way you approach things. Again, the way you talk to people, it's a similar thing as the way you look and present yourself and your
Yeah.
business, the way you actually talk as well. It all runs in that same sort of category, I think, there, to be honest. So that's pretty good. I remember once miscommunication when you first came over to the UK when my mother asked you, would you like a trifle? Well, in the States, you don't have trifles, as in the bowls with fruity stuff and custard and stuff in. It just means would you like to do something a bit fancy, shall we say?
Well,
So
I just remember my neck snapped.
yeah, and looked at me. I was like, "What's wrong with you?"
I just remember, I thought the woman had absolutely lost her mind, or I needed to make a run for the door or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, to put things in another category, when I rolled up in the driveway with Phil for the first time, meeting her, she had antlers on her head. It was Christmas time, and she ran out there to the car, and the dog, which looked like a huge Rottweiler, was there with her. I'm sitting there in the car. I'm not getting out. I was sitting there and I looked over at Phil. I said, mm-mm. No.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, so different ways, different nationalities approach things, and even sometimes, and depends on places in the country. Up north, you talk to people a little bit different than Southerners do, and so forth. So it's everyone's got their own way.
In our household, we have little Mimi conversations of what'd you say that for? Well, I was only joking because well we may speak the same language, but we come from you couldn't get two more totally different backgrounds if you tried. I'm very laid back Southern lady, and he is a very stern Englishman and
I wouldn't say that, but okay. But we'll end that conversation there. So before I get told off, right? Okay, so let's have a look. Quick go to Ken. He says language issues can also include different dialects.
Yep.
Newcastle calling a female customer a pet is totally acceptable. Yeah, it's a bit like round here. Love
Yeah.
or duck is quite acceptable for a lot of people.
I'll never forget the first time I heard "A up my duck." I didn't know what it meant. I just
Yeah. Why is everyone calling me a duck? I remember that. There we go. Probably not further south. It's hard to say to offend people. So it is easy to offend people, and sometimes it's easier to go for the neutral tone sometimes rather than local dialect if you can get away with it. But again, it can differ per area and your customer base. And sometimes when you know your customers, you can talk to them a certain way as well. So if you know what they're like and so forth, you've got a relationship with them. Right, let's go on to Jay again. So Jay, I think it's your turn now. So Jay, have you got anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think obviously we've spoken about how you're treating your customers, and when you get the job done, I think it's important again just to have a sit down and explain what you've done. Obviously, customers don't understand the tech terms. You've got to literally sort of put it into a short story that they will understand. And I was reading something that Ken had put before that obviously to get the customer satisfaction, it depends on how you treat them completely. As soon as they walk in the door, walk out the door. I've got a place in a small village and I get recognised everywhere. If I went out for a drink and my seat's just broke, I've just if I go out anywhere, if I go for a meal, if I go for a drink, people know me, who I am. So I've got to always put that face on with them. I can still have a good drink and a chat with them and things like that. But people do remember you with the way that you treat them. And I've had a lot of people say it all the time through recommendations. I've been told to come down to see you because you're a really nice guy. There's so many things like that. One of the things that Ken said before is he's got, as well as you're showing there, Phil, a QR code, which I think is massively important. And I've got an A4 size paper at my chair still shrinking down. I'm sorry.
I'm watching you and I'm trying not to laugh.
Getting smaller.
Dean, if you're watching, could you please send a Thunder X3 to the PC guy? He is ever so nice.
Jerry's so
and
broke.
he takes care of me.
But yeah, I always say to my customers, and it's pretty much every customer that walks through the door. I always ask them if they're happy with the service, if there's anything they need explaining. I think I've got to the bottom now. And normally they do have questions. Other times they don't have questions. But I always say to them, listen, you can call me anytime, text me anytime. If you've got any issues with a computer or laptop, whatever job I've done for them, that they can always give me a call. As long as it's not on Sundays, that's my day off. And then I say, if you are happy with everything, would you mind giving us a scan the QR code? For the older customers, I normally ask them just to recommend me to friends and family because a lot of them don't know how to use QR codes, etc. So you've got to have, I think, multiple ways to get your recommendations through and, your reviews as well. Now, again, asking for reviews is sometimes you are putting yourself in the hands of the customer. If you've done one thing wrong and you've not realised it, it is going to make a mark on what
Yeah.
kind of review you do get, whether it's a 3, 4, 5-star, whichever. So again, it's just kind of looking after them like they are a family member or a friend, and then hopefully they'll give you the review that that you deserve, really. So
Playing off something that you just said, talking to them and telling them what you've done, you have to be careful with that too. I learned, because if you dumb it down too much, they are offended and they think, well, you don't think I have the brains to figure
Yeah.
out what you're saying to me. And if you tech it too much, then it's going over their head. So you've got to find that you've got to basically figure out your customer in the first few seconds of meeting them, and what you think they will understand from what they've told you about their computer. And then, kind of play happy middle between techie tech and making them feel stupid, I guess it would be.
That's it.
And I've had to really struggle with that sometimes, because I thought that I had found my common ground between the two one day, and this lady says, "No, don't talk down to me." I said, "I'm sorry." I said, "I really didn't mean to." I said, "I was just trying to avoid, using too many technical terms and jargons and everything." I said, "But I didn't mean to, come across as belittling or anything."
Yeah. I think most people will turn around and say they're a technophobe or don't know what I'm doing, or if they say I've messed about with this and I've really messed it up, you kind of know which way.
Yeah.
And which way the conversation is going to go. But some people are switched on, other people aren't.
Yeah.
But as long as you're honest with them when you're talking about the job that you're going to do, even if they don't understand it, they've got a lot of information in their head there. It's one of those things that it is a fine line between offending somebody and
That's
not
it.
doing really.
I had a customer this morning who rung up, and it was like one of those simple things: just power the machine off, power it back on, and it'll work, sort of thing. But trying to get them to understand what the power button was, just over the phone on its own, and it's like, the button you press to turn it on, that one.
Yeah.
One's that, and I was like, you press it every morning to switch it on. So
listen, and this is the thing. I had a gentleman yesterday with a Wi-Fi issue, couldn't connect to the internet. He said, "I'm getting no broadband." I said, "Is it? Are you on Wi-Fi? Is that a laptop?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "But what's Wi-Fi?" So there's even people who don't even know what Wi-Fi is.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I said, "Well, if you're on Wi-Fi, you can use your laptop anywhere in the house." "All right, yeah, I'm on Wi-Fi then." So it is hard for some people to grasp, the even though it's a well-known technical term, Wi-Fi. Some people just don't get it.
Yeah, and I must admit, I've come across people who get that and like 4G and 5G mixed up with Wi-Fi, and my 5G's not working on my laptop and stuff like that.
And God forbid introducing the word hotspots to the ones that don't know Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
Different story, different day.
Right, so we're getting close-ish to the end of the show. If anyone, obviously, who is watching wants to add any comments in, any thoughts, any ideas about customer service, obviously feel free. If you want to join us on shows in the future, obviously let us know. Ken has also posted, so I think Ken's been number one at posting tonight. Let's have a look. We follow up 7 days after collection with a courtesy call for one of our team. And she's 75 and loves to talk and very non-tech, so it's great at leaving a great impression. Oh, right, so the person you get to call people 75, right? Okay, I get it. So ideal. So sometimes not having a tech person in certain roles is an advantage, to be honest with you.
I think that's pretty good.
Because sometimes tech people aren't very good at selling stuff, and they're not always the best people.
I was about to say, we're not people unless they are our kind, you might say.
Yeah, exactly. It can be quite hard for someone who is a tech, which generally, and not everyone's the same, but generally techs are usually like to hide away. They just want to play with the technology and not want to deal with customers. They just want to deal with the computers. So sometimes if you have got a store, let's just say, and it is big enough to be able to have a separate salesperson or customer service person, like Ken was saying, compared to the techs who do the actual repairs and stuff, then that is a good idea, because customers can get a little bit confused with all the techie stuff, and then the obviously the
I
techs
remember when we had our
bit wary.
store, I would so much prefer Phil to be out front and me in the back building, repairing, and everything, so I could concentrate on one thing. And being that Phil understood most of what was going on out in the sales floor, uh, he could go out there and I tell you, he was like the used car salesman of the of the store. He could go out there and he could sell it,
Yeah.
or he could point them in the right direction that they needed to go with their repair, or even give them a choice of repair or replace. And he was really really good with his words and all. Me, I was okay on the floor. I'm not a salesperson. I'm a repair. I'm a builder. So my happy zone was in the office doing just that and putting Phil out front. And we worked well together for a number of years doing that.
Yeah, we did work well. One of the things, just to carry on from what Ken was saying about obviously calling the customer 7 days later for like a courtesy call or whatever. How many people out there actually ask for feedback from customers afterwards? Do you send an email or a text or anything like that to your customers afterwards to say, hey, would you like to leave us some feedback? We want to know how everything went. Obviously, you'll get those customers who complain no matter what. We all have them. We've all seen them, and so forth. But obviously, if you see a trend happening, if so to say 1 in every 10 people say, "Oh yeah, it was too slow," then or it was too expensive or whatever, then you've got something what you might want to have a look at, and or potentially it might not be that you are too expensive. It's just not that you're letting the customer know how much value for money they're actually getting for the service. They think, "Oh, all you've done is polish the lid of the laptop and that's it," when you've actually done a full internal service. Some people don't understand what that means.
And don't be afraid of getting bad feedback, because without the bad feedback, you don't know what to correct.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are afraid of getting bad feedback, but I welcome feedback when we do TechMax every year, no matter if it's 0 stars up to 1,000.
Yeah.
Sure, I want to hear praise of how great of time you had and how you swung from the rafters. You got all these freebies and you're just as happy as Larry. Sure, I want to hear that because I've worked really hard throughout the year to get the show going. But if there was something that was amiss, well, I want to know that too, because I can't correct it, whether it be with the venue, with Phil, with myself, if I don't know about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think,
Well, if your problem's with me and you don't like me, there's not much you can do about that one. Sorry.
well, we'll just make him stay at home for the next one if you don't.
But yeah, so yeah, totally agree.
Replace him with Bond.
If you don't know, you can't fix it, and obviously, other people might be having issues with that same thing, but they're just not letting you know about it. Because sometimes if people are only talking to your face, they're not always going to tell you these little niggly things. If you have an anonymous form or something like that, people can fill in. They may tell you things that you didn't actually realize or know. They might say, "Oh, actually, there's a strange odor when you come into the store," which you may not smell. You're used to it. Or something
You're
like that.
nose blind.
Yeah, exactly. you just used to it. You don't realize it smells like dog or pizza or curry or whatever when you're just used to that smell, so you don't notice. But a few customers might not say that to your face. So obviously that's something to do. Obviously, it's probably be a bit something else other than smell, but there we go. Right, so we're 1 minute past, so it looks like chat is quieting down. Let's quickly go back to Steve and Jay. So, Steve, is there anything else you'd like to add on to the end of the show?
Just a very quick story. I went to a customer once to do an installation, new computer, NAS drive, and when he opened the door, he said, "You can save my marriage." So I looked at him and said, "Why?" He said, "We bought a new mattress 2 weeks ago and we can't get it up the stairs. The stairs were narrow, they had a big bend in it, and mattresses do not bend that well. It took me 40 minutes for him to get it up a flight of stairs. But I did it, and he was eternally grateful. So if a customer asks you to do them a favor, do it. Why not? If you're getting paid, do it.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know where that was going.
Yeah.
When he said you can save my marriage, I automatically went one way, and then you said there was a mattress bought.
And we're talking about customer service satisfaction. Yeah, so
I
that
gotta
could have
say,
gone many-
Steve, right there, you really, really had me.
But yeah, so obviously, customers obviously I've had it quite a lot with elderly customers. You might leave me this or doing with this when you go around and stuff like that. Is yeah, obviously to a certain degree, you're not going to go and mow the lawn for them and retile the roof or anything daft like that. But little things like that.
Saying that during COVID, some of our elderly customers couldn't get to the grocery store to get food, and we offered, you know, if you can't get the kids to help you out, you know, give us a call and we will fetch them for you. Just to do a click and collect, you know.
We did help a few out
Yeah.
then, didn't we? It was mainly people who hadn't got family
Yeah.
or that were a long distance away because
Yeah.
obviously you weren't allowed to travel and stuff. So we
Yeah.
I think
help out to a degree.
one of the things that I just stick by is treat your customers like gold and treat them right. Otherwise, somebody else will. So always look after them. You know, because somebody else out there, you know, a competitor, whatever, they will more than gladly take your customer off you if you do something wrong. So it's just always worth remembering that, I suppose.
Yeah, and to follow up on that, obviously, if the customer is a complete nightmare and no matter what you do, they're never happy, feel free to fire them.
Yeah.
You can get rid of your own
Yeah,
customers.
I've done
You can
that.
You can tell them, sorry, it's not working out between us. Nothing we do is working. So obviously, there's a chance they might leave you negative feedback or whatever if you do, or reviews or whatever. But sometimes, if you're just not going to make them happy, it's just going to cost you more time and messing around than it's actually worth. Sometimes you just know that when you sell that laptop, which you're making, let's say 50 quid on because you're just shifting a box or something daft like that, you just know they're going to be on the phone every single week for the next year till the warranty runs out, and then they're going to be complaining that it hasn't worked since day one.
I actually did that. I was in that circumstance one time. A guy came in the store, and I knew he would be like that because with his current laptop that he didn't buy off me, he was that way. Yeah. And he wanted to buy a new one. And no matter what he picked up in the store that day, I know this is horrible. I said, I don't know if that's one for you. First one was going to be way, way, way too slow for his needs. Second one, not much better than the first one. And the last one, I think you're spending too much money on something like that.
Yeah, he's a decent one from PC World. Go there and have a look what they got. But yeah, sometimes you just have those customers you just know, and it's not worth messing about. You think, oh yeah, it's an extra 50, 100, 200 quid.
I could have used the money, but
over the year, it costs you money in time and resources and sanity sometimes. Good comment there from Gadget Joe. Treat your customers exactly how you would want to be treated.
Absolutely.
Then do it better than that. So that I go by that sort of philosophy on most things, and it's not just customer service. If you are wanting to compete against a local shop, or you want to be better, you only need to be 1% better than that other store to be actually better than them, offer the better service. So it's always going that just 1% more. So if you, for example, like the Tech Awards, okay, nominations are over now, but we always used to go if we'd lost an award or didn't win, it's probably the best way of putting it, we came second, runner up, or not even get listed, we'd always look at who'd won or who would be top five, and we go, right, how can we be slightly better than each of those
or
people?
How the hell did that happen?
Well, sometimes you look and go, that doesn't add up, but generally you look and go, right, they must be doing something right. So obviously whether down to judges or whatnot, you have a look and see why. So whether it's customer service, whether it's the way your store looks, your presentation, anything like that, just go that extra 1% than your competitors, and that's sometimes all you need to do. And you add that 1% on everything. So you're 1% better on your customer service, 1% better staff, 1% better the way you look, 1% better on the way you're doing your phone call, and suddenly you're then 5% better than everyone.
Yeah.
So that 1% adds up on if you do it on everything. So obviously, if you can go a little bit more than 1%, then do it. But that's all you need, is that just a little bit better to stand out from everyone else. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be twice as good as everyone. Just a little bit better at everything, and then that'll get you there.
I remember hearing our customers come in and see the awards lined up. Oh, I see you won another award. We always do a good job for me, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, they'd see another one in there. Oh, when did you get this one? I haven't seen this one. They always like to talk about our shiny awards sitting on the counter.
Yeah,
And
I'm going to say we did well with the awards. I know a lot of people will go, "Oh, awards, it don't mean anything," and so forth. It does, but it doesn't in some ways. Yes, it's a shiny award. It doesn't necessarily get people in the store, but you do get free publicity from it. Your local papers, and obviously radio stations, obviously publicise it. And obviously, if people come in, it gives them a slight bit of reassurance, like, hey, these guys have been voted the best in the area or best in the country or whatever, or even just top 5 or whatever. It still gives them reassurances that where the going is known for something, what they can actually look up and so forth. But yeah, anyway. So, right, guys, I think we're going to call it there. So we're slightly over, but that's not a problem.
I'd like to thank our guests for
yeah.
being here. Thank you again, Steve and Jay. Thank you for
Thank you.
joining us and everything, and for your thoughts and comments. And thank you, Phil, for running it.
Yeah, well, thank you for being on it as well, Jen. So, yeah, thanks, Steve, for your first time being on a show.
Thank you.
Obviously, Jay, thank you for joining us again. I think this is
Thank
the
you.
second or third show, is it? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Third now. So, yeah, I lose track. After, 130 shows, I forget who we've had on each week sometimes. And again, obviously, thank you for the guys watching, especially like Ken. We've got Gadget Joe, Blue Ball, and so forth watching. Cormac was on earlier and so forth.
Yeah.
Again, thank you all for watching and taking part, and we'll see you next time. We do have a few shows coming up, including distributor shows and a few things like that, TechMax updates and
quarterly
all this
review.
Yeah, we've got a few, but we'll go over those in a few weeks. But again, guys, if you haven't already, obviously sign up at TechMax. We'd love to see you all there. We've made it so it's cheap as anything for you to go. It's just tftmax.com, which I'll put on the screen for you if it will actually let me. And it's not letting me at the moment. Here we go. It's there. Okay, so if anyone does want to go there, feel free to go. Big QR code. You've got the web address right in front of Jay's face. Can't miss it. So just scan that code. So yeah, just point down at it down there. Scan that code and or go to the website.com. Free tickets, £1 tickets and 25 quid tickets. And it'll be a good laugh and be a good time. Get to meet everyone.
We'll have a great time.
That's it. So, right, I'm going to leave you all there then, and we'll see you all next time. So have fun and see you probably next week.